Hi everybody, it's Christina and thank you for joining me. So today I'm going to use a technique that I covered about 13 or 14 years ago on YouTube, and I called it then the faux tile effect. And this is it in the background. If you can just see the little squares in the card that create the look of tiles on your design. So today I'm going to show you how I've got this look and some of the ways in which we can use it. So for this technique I need a scoreboard and a scoring tool. I need some smooth white paper, VersaMark and some clear embossing powder. Now these are some of the ones that I've already created. I've just used different shades of pink and green, and on this one I've used this stencil. This one I've used shades of blue and green, and I haven't used any stencil on that at all, but I have covered it with some gold splatter. So another thing that I did for this card, I just painted on the colours and then stenciled over the top. And for this one I brushed on the colours and just blended them together, then splattered them with water. So the first thing I'm going to do is choose my Distress Oxide, and I'm going to put some down on my mat. Now I'm going to spritz that with some water, and then I'm just going to use a brush, a paintbrush, and I'm just simply going to paint this over the top. And I don't want it smooth, I just want it streaky. Now if your card curls, don't worry about it, we're going to straighten it out eventually. So once you've got one colour down, dry that off and then we'll add the next colour. Now for my next colour I've chosen Evergreen Bough, which has a kind of bluey green shade to it, and I'm just going to repeat the process, and that's just add the colour, so once that's dry I'm going to splatter this with some gold paint. And once I've done that I'm going to dry this off again. So once you get to this stage you're going to need some darker inks, and I'm using Blueprint Sketch and Lucky Clover and some little brushes to put this on. So add your stencil to your card, and then through the flowers you're just going to add in the blue ink. And again, it doesn't have to be anything special, just add in the blue ink. And then once I've done the flowers I'm going to come in and do the green leaves. So I'll continue on with this, but once I've finished it, that's what I will have on my card. So once you have that, I've cut the bottom piece off because I'll use that for something else, probably flowers. But for this one now, I'm going to cover this in VersaMark. So I'm just going to pop the pad down on the card, and it says, well, if you put a piece of paper under there just to keep this mat clean. So we've got some paper under there now to keep it clean, and we'll add the VersaMark all over the sheet. And have a look at it and make sure it's all covered. Once you've done that, you're going to cover it all in clear embossing powder. And now once that's all covered, the next step is to heat it and melt all that powder. Now as you heat embossing you can see how that colour is deepened under the powder. So carry on and emboss the whole sheet. So once you have it done to this stage with the embossing all melted on it, the heat embossing melted, Pop it onto your scoreboard with the face down and decide how big you want your tiles. Do you want them 1 inch, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch? You decide. I'm going to do these at 1 inch. So I'm going to score them all down 1 inch apart. That's 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch and so on. Make sure they've got a good ridge in them, but without going through the card. Now this is not an expensive card, it's a 160 GSM and it's just a smooth white. So we can turn that round and we can pop it over here now and do it at 1 inch intervals all the way down to the bottom. So once you've done that, now you've got your pattern on your card and that's what it will look like. So these are the other pieces that I've done. I've done this at 1 inch and I've done this at half an inch. So the tiles are a lot smaller on this one. Now once you've done that, you can cut this down with your dies. You can hand cut it into shapes if you want, just to add them to your card. But don't throw the bits away that you leave behind because they can always be used on another project. Sticking to my fingers. So with my patterned pieces, I've used the plain edge die and I've cut out the hearts, and then with some gold card I've cut out the scalloped ones behind, and each one's been married to the other one, and they've now got foam pads on the back and they're ready to be added to my card. But for this card now I want another panel that will go on there and I'm going to emboss that. So I've stamped myself a sentiment, I've embossed that, and I'm going to add this to a gold panel. Now it's a good idea from that gold panel to take these pieces because nobody will see any missing pieces in the back of that once it's all layered up. So I'm going to glue these together and then I'll come back to you. So with these glued in place now, I'm going to add these to the top. I'm going to put that one there and we'll just glue that in place. Then with some foam on the back of this, we'll add this one in place. And with foam on the back of this one, we'll add this one down here. So those hearts have now been created with the tile effect backing on the hearts. You can just see the squares on the sheet. This one has used a whole piece of the card to create it, and that's the 1 inch squares. This is the smaller one, this is the ½ inch one, and the others have been cut into die shapes. This one's just been cut out just to leave an unusual shape on the card. Now don't throw away any papers that you have left over, they can always be used on another project. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please join me on the next one. And why not subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell, then you'll always be aware when I add a new video. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.